Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd down here at Alliance. Just got a first look at what is now their newest, lightest, smallest, and hey, least expensive trailer. I like that. I walked in the door. You can see a line of trailers behind me over here. I saw this one. I saw it was their smallest one. I'm like, I bet something good is going on over here. So this is a really popular floor plan. A lot of different builders make it. So what is Delta bringing to the table that they don't? Well, first of all, this is a carpetless, ventless floor plan, just like all the other Deltas. And that's what's actually kind of cool about this new Delta Ultralite series. It's the same construction that you've seen on, I guess you call it full Delta proper. It's just a couple things, like it doesn't have a nose cap, which really is nothing but visual aesthetics for the RV. It doesn't really enhance the function of the RV anywhere. So they made this one all thriller, no filler. But the thing is, it's still pretty thrilling here. It does have a very, we'll say, traditional brown on brown decor, bordering on like a Western style decor. And some folks may not like that, and that's okay if not everything's for you. But we've got things like all composite walls and flooring. If you want to see how these are built, I actually have a full RV factory tour of the Delta family. What they did with the seating and the little lagoon swivel stands, I think, is very cool. I love the little desk arrangement that they have in this one. Great counter space, true queen bed, privacy curtain, some new storage solutions. They're doing some cool things here. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna peel this onion apart, good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. And if we like how we give you that fair and candid information, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Now, right away, one of the first things I need to do is offer you a quick correction. It's early, I'm not properly caffeinated yet, because I am a caffeined, if you will. This is a 6.5 foot interior height. This is not 6'9", as I think I mentioned when the video first began. The bigger Deltas are 6'9", but this Ultralite series is actually a little bit smaller. That's part of the weight savings there. There's only like 3 differences between the two. And as funny as it sounds, when there's fewer differences, it's almost harder to keep track of. Anyway, so what I want to focus on, like, this is a proven floor plan. This is a very popular floor plan in the RV industry. And I really want to focus on Alliance's execution of it and the areas in which they are a little bit different. So some builders use floor ducted heating. Alliance has really never done that right from the very start. And you can see how it's also a carpetless floor flush rack and pinion slide. Makes this very, very easy to clean, very pet friendly as well. The little LED accent light under the sofa you could turn off if you're so inclined. But look what they did with the dual kind of like lagoon swivel stands over here. What's cool about those is they're there when you need them and gone when you don't. They're just big enough for a dinner plate. Notice they're actually using a theater seat with a drink holder in the middle. A lot of manufacturers, for some reason, seem to like to ignore that detail. I've never quite understood why. Those are also wall huggers, so you can kick that thing back into a recliner. Now, as we're looking at this RV, it's definitely exclusively a guest, or a solo and or couples camper. It's not great for guests, but you could outfit this with a hide-a-bed instead of the theater seat if you are so inclined, you know, you want a little bit more of that guest function and capacity. Now, as you're seeing right there, the windows open for airflow. They also have the nicer blackout roller shades. And something that you can't see, and maybe can't even hear very well, if I quit talking for a second, take a listen to the air conditioner. So you might hear it a little bit, but that's the air absolutely cranked. Now, there's 2 things that are really helping noise dampen that. First of all, they're using a quieter Coleman mock air unit, which is already making a huge difference in here. It's hot this morning as I'm recording. Secondly, it is centralized. And when you centralize air conditioning, you spread out the dispersion points, and the air turbulence that actually causes the noise, that goes away. So it's just a little easier, a little more comfortable in here. Now, when I first walked into the RV, the TV was just mounted flat up in that cabinet. I'm like, oh, tell me you didn't do that. And they didn't. Some brands will try to cut a corner here and put on a single jointed swing arm that faces the bed. The problem is, during the day, nobody really gets a good shot at the entertainment center. And although it's not direct facing exactly toward the theater seat, it's not terrible. So if I slide over here, I'm in the left-hand theater seat currently. The left seat is really directly in front of it. I have it turned and facing the other seat right now. And yeah, it's mounted up a little bit against the ceiling, but that's also what allows for all of the window coverage you see. And that's actually something they did really well here. They added all kinds of windows around the kitchen that a lot of brands don't, and it really lightens, brightens, and opens it up. And when you're actually sitting down in this thing, or if you like sit up in bed at night, you can see right out those windows. So even though you don't see a giant campsite picture window, your campsite viewing is actually pretty good. And very few builders of this floor plan include the little electric space heating Tootsie Toaster that you can see they did right here. Little things like that thing produces a lot of heat. I don't think people necessarily realize how much heat that sucker puts out. And essentially, the RV has two heating systems. You have both an electric and a propane heat system. Now, one thing I'm looking for are kitchen power outlets. Hold on, let me sneak around the corner over here, because being an 1.5 laminated wall, I don't see any there. Okay, so we've got some power outlets there. And if you remember, big old farm sink. Notice too, by the way, hold on. Let me put everything on pause. Notice how it's a side draining farm sink. Some people don't like farm sinks because they want to have a wash basin and a rinse basin. Well, if you get like a big piece of Rubbermaid over here to hold soapy water that you wash stuff in, you can rinse it over here more easily with a side mount faucet. So that actually works out pretty well. But if you remember, when I come around this side, you can see how we do have a couple power outlets right there. And where that can be very cool is not only did they include a countertop extension, they made it floor flush. I'm such an idiot. Countertop flush. So if you want to maximize the counter space, you can. Or if you want a little bit of a little desk station, you've got just enough to have a little laptop warrior weekend over here without totally killing all of the potential kitchen space. So it's a little bit of a different layout, but I kind of like it. Now, once again, apologies for me getting the height information wrong. I think in my intro I made a big deal about that, and it turns out that's not the case. Again, that's egg on my face, and I hope you appreciate that. Like, if I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. Man, I'm certainly not perfect, you know. That's actually one of the things I really like about Alliance. They try really hard, but they acknowledge, like, hey, man, we're not perfect. We wish we were, but we're not. I think actually what's funny is if you watch my Alliance factory construction tour, if you really want to kind of learn a little bit more how these are put together and the materials under the skin, I've done a tour of their production, one of their production facilities and their lamination plant. So I've kind of gone through them a couple times. And in one of them, one of their big executive guys even says, man, we wish we were perfect, but, you know, we're not. And that's the reason I'm talking about this is they have what they call a do what's right warranty policy. And they really do try a lot harder than most manufacturers to make things right for customers if the need arises. I've seen that time and time again. They've earned a major following. Now that's a 60 by 80 True Queen bed, and the factory mattress isn't much to write home about, but it's now easily replaced. And if you notice all the way up by the headboard on those side stands, first of all, it's not like going to give you claustrophobia. Secondly, the cabinet above the bed's tall enough you're not going to cold cock yourself. And third, you've got power outlets, both household and USBs, right up next to your head, which is something I think is done very well. They also gave us fully enclosed overhead storage instead of just like a shelf pocket that a lot of manufacturers are seemingly pretty inclined to give us. Something else that really impressed me about this, though, look at these storage solutions. They really knocked out a lot of really nice storage solutions in this RV right here. One of the things that they're playing with, because I am technically in an early access prototype, they are playing with the idea of when it's an open face bedroom like this, which they've never made before, ever. This is their very first open bedroom ever. Adding some drawers under the bed, very similar to kind of what Rockwood does there. They're giving us 2 big ones instead of 3 small ones, but you still have like a Foot Locker chest space with an easy lift bed. Not to mention, they made sure they added struts to the cabinets over the bed, which I thought was nice. And again, they did include a privacy curtain. Now it's a split curtain, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit easier kind of come and go. One of the other things I want to point out here, though, is notice how the curtain ties against the campside wall. Some manufacturers will leave the curtain over here, but I have seen a couple times in my career that curtain can get bound up in the slide, and folks, that can suck. That can suck real, real bad. Now you're gonna get a nice little feedback reflection of my balding, well, not even 4-head, but 5-head, approaching a 6-head at this point over here. If you want to, I'm not good with my left hand, sorry. You can turn that sucker around kind of like, what, turning the beat around, I guess you could say. If you want to be able to watch a little TV at night, you can. Obviously, you're not going to be able to with that curtain open. Again, the counter space in here is great. It's a smaller oven, but they've maintained an oven where a lot of manufacturers simply have not. One of the only things I kind of wish they would have done here, like they included a nice little toe kick slot for standing in front of the stove. They didn't do it for the sink. So if you're washing a lot of dishes for a while, your lower back kind of gets, they don't like you. But notice though, they did make sure the countertop stuck out further than the overhead cabinets. So you're not like leaning backwards while you're trying to do dishes. So as dumb as it sounds, little things like that, those are the things that I've learned to look for over the years that some manufacturers do and some manufacturers don't. Because some people, you know what? Some people like cucumbers and some people think they taste better pickled. I don't know. It's the same vegetable at the end of the day. It's just all a matter of how you prepare it. Now, this theater seat I'm looking at, it actually does have heat massage functions, but it's got what I call the thigh buster USB plug. If you actually try to use the USB plug in that seat and sit down, you're probably going to fight with it against your legs, which is something that I don't always love and appreciate. Now, kicking open this thing, again, it's a wall-hugging theater recliner, but remember I talked about storage solutions. So many different builders have this same floor plan. It's the execution of the floor plan that makes them different, and I really, really like what they did in terms of storage solutions, like those slide open pantry drawers, the drawer in a drawer, like you have a silverware drawer on top of other things, you know? And again, that flip up little desk extension, the huge overhead cabinet above the sink. This is a small RV with a really respectable cargo capacity and the space to actually be able to use that. And although there are some RVs that will carry a little bit better holding tank capacities, the holding tank ratings on this, they're not terrible overall. Now, if you're a crazy, I'm going to go out for 2 weeks, boondock, off-grid warrior, I don't mean crazy like you're nuts, I just mean like you love that kind of camping. Yeah, you may need to figure out some extra water solutions. You'll want to expand the solar package a little bit, but those are things that could all be done. You know, oh, I don't know why I didn't even key into this before. I was talking about the thigh buster USB plug. Apparently somebody at Alliance agrees with me because they added an extra set of USB plugs over here to try to help overcome that potential challenge point. And notice too, it's a fully framed out bathroom door, meaning no peekaboo, I smell you bathroom door. And I really like these little solutions, these little fold down like towel hanging clips or something like that. Maybe even a place to hang a jacket right next to the entry door. I could see that kind of working. It sounds funny, like why would you hang a jacket in the bathroom? Well, it's by the door. You're camping. Sometimes you just do certain things. Something I've really come to appreciate from Alliance is their soft close toilet lid. And there's decent space around this toilet. It's not the worst I've ever seen. It's not the best, absolutely. Really, I suspect that there could be people who are watching this video who said, man, you had me until we got to the bathroom. I don't care for that radius shower, or I feel it's too tight around the toilet. And to that I say, I totally respect it. That is why I take the extra time to record all this extra footage. It takes me about twice as long to make my videos doing all this. But I know that if it were me and I were looking at spending this kind of money, I would want to know. Now again, the RV's 6.5 foot tall, not 6'9" as I initially mentioned. That means that my head, when I'm a little bit over 6 foot, did need to go in the skylight. But they gave us a big medicine cabinet right there. We also have, oh, you know what? A large stainless sink. Holy crap, Batman. That is a, that's a big sink right there. What do we got down here? I have not opened this yet. Okay, so there's a little bit of plumbing running down there, but they left this as open as they could. You're not going to need to put towels or anything down there because you have that enclosed linen storage already in the bathroom. That could be a nice little spot for a little bathroom wastebasket, which once again, it's those little details that everybody and their brother really wants, but a lot of manufacturers just don't think about. And I think it's really because Alliance, more than most any other brand, is so consumer driven. And because they created that fold-up counter desk extension. We got to come up with a nerdism for that. What's it called when the counter has a laptop desk flip-up station? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But because they did that and they didn't go with like some kind of big peninsula style countertop, they made it so you can very easily walk through the sucker. So getting to the bed, you could use it to sleep overnight. You can obviously get to the kitchen, and as you could probably hear, you can easily get to the bathroom. I say that because the door creaked like it belonged to an old witch that Hansel and Gretel were going to stuff into an oven or something like that. I don't know. Something I didn't mention, these are magnet holdbacks, but they're also soft close cabinet drawers in addition to the soft close toilet, which I think is very cool. So overall, this gets some really excellent road mode ratings. The only thing you really can't use in transit on this one is the sofa, just because rack and pinion slides aren't made for that. They're a very heavy duty slide, and the mechanism's very hefty and reliable. And manufacturers account for storage they build into the slide, like that pantry, but they don't account for a person they didn't put into the slide. So that's one of the only downsides to this. But if you ask most RVers, given the choice, a lot of people would still prefer a rack and pinion slide just due to their historical reliability overall. One last handy little detail here on the inside. We do have central air, but we have the option, the choice of non-centralizing that. You've got these little fins, watch these little things. It flaps open. Suddenly now the air drops right in here, and it's a little bit louder, but again, if I shut up, it's not like a massive difference. It's not something that's going to keep you up at night. So if it's crazy scorching hot where you're at, you can drop all the air right here. And because it's not running through the central ducting, the roof at construction gets really hot from the sun. You maintain maximum efficiency of that air system, which is that concept they apply to so many different Alliance RVs. And if you like how we tell you that kind of stuff, those little pro tips, showing you the slides close, opening all the storage, it takes a ton of time. Hit the like button on the video if you're a returning member of the RV Nerd Herd, or subscribe if you're new, and know that we'll always shoot you straight and give you the extra information you need to be an educated consumer. So taking a second look at the weights and the measures here, what's it going to take to tow this sucker around? Well, the good news is it's not a Bigfoot gravedigger monster truck on a Sunday. I, by the way, love that like crazy radio announcer voice, you know. The Alliance Delta here at the Deltaplex, and then like chainsaws and barbed wire and explosions. I love that stuff. I can't help it. You know, there's a lot of people that like they'll judge like, oh, you watch monster trucks. You know what? Go there. Go in person and watch a giant truck smash old cars. It's freaking awesome. So I guess try it before you judge it. So anyway, sorry, I'm way off topic. What are we looking at here? We are prepped and ready for slide awnings. All the windows nicely tinted. All the windows opening for airflow, which is pretty excellent. I guess I should throw in the caveat, all the windows except for the window in the entry door, just because I said all. And there's always that one person who's waiting to find a reason that whatever I said on video is not correct. And they're like, ha-ha, gotcha. Well, maybe not today, guys. Maybe. I said maybe. There could be something else stupid I've said. Big front pass-through. But again, they've kept their Alliance doing Alliance things here. Like we do have I'm not even going to call this necessarily a docking center, because if you notice, all of your water hookups, they're actually still outside. So sometimes when people see an inward facing what looks like docking center, they're worried about water flooding into their camper. You can't have that here. And if you notice that black panel right there, that's actually a service access panel to get back to things like winterizing and whatnot. Now this is really, really interesting. They put physical switches even in the outside of the RV, so you can stand right here and literally line of sight this rack and pinion slide out as it opens and closes to make sure it's not going to smash into anything. And that's just a really cool smart detail. But also, you're going to see several of these sprayer ports with the blue and red stickers on them. Well, it's not an accident that over here you've got a similar blue and red sticker on what looks like a hot-cold, water adjustment kind of thing. Well, that's basically all of your showers, all your little outside water sprayer ports on the RV, they are hot and cold. You adjust the temperature up there in that front pass-through, and then it will provide the hot and or cold water or mixture thereof to all of the sprayer points on the outside of the RV. And that's an extra thing that I've not seen a lot of other manufacturers do. Now, if I back up here a little bit, you see a full Delta parked behind this thing. Not a whole lot in the way of differences on these. Like you see the nose cap, that's really about the only major obvious thing because the physical construction's exactly the same between them. We've got all composite walls and flooring, so I'm just going to use the word Asdel, even though technically some of the layering that they're using isn't Asdel, but it is still a composite, essentially like Asdel. One of the cool things about that, though, like think about your fiberglass skin. It's actually made out of fiberglass and polypropylene. Well, that's essentially the exact same materials that the composites are made out of. So when you have like material on top of like material, when it's all laminated together, let's say this RV is parked out in the sun, you have to start dealing with heat expansion and contraction. Well, if the skin and the substrate, which is the layer that the skin is attached to, if they're made out of the same materials, then they're going to have the same rate of heat expansion and contraction. And that right there is a massive way to avoid a huge amount of delamination. Because something a lot of people don't realize, they think delamination comes only from leaks. A lot of RV delamination on older RVs, especially those stored outdoors, it's actually the result of heat expansion and contraction causing stress and pulling between the fiberglass and the substrate. And by going with those composite materials under the fiberglass, you've eliminated that. Not to mention, the materials that they're using here are lighter weight. And I'm not telling you the RV is waterproof, but those materials are waterproof. Now, if you're paying attention, we had one of those sprayer ports I mentioned up by the front pass-through on the driver's side. We had one up by the pass-through on the passenger side. And now if you look down at the bottom of that heavier rated ladder, 300-pound rated oversized ladder that you can actually use like dry towels with, you see that you've also got a hot cold sprayer over here. So they give you the ability to use the little coily sprayer garden hose kind of attachment thing all over the RV, which is, it's one of those things that if you've never camped, you really don't realize how useful and handy that really is. Now, something they added last year, and they added it at customer request because once again, they have been an absolutely consumer-driven brand over here. They added an extra handle on the top of the RV to make that roof to ladder transition a little easier, a little smoother, a little safer. And giving you another peek up there, again, listening to customers. The Coleman Mach Q Air is a powerful unit. It's quiet, but notice how they also put a white shroud on it. That really helps maximize efficiency. So the air conditioner's not baking under a black shroud, which makes it a little bit harder for the air to keep you cool. Not to mention, again, based on your input, they were going to put optional solar on this, and people said, we just want the solar. Can't you just do it from the factory? And they said, fine. If you want it, we'll do it. And I love that mentality. Another thing we're going to wrap up here on, I think is a really smart feature. They did make sure they cross-plumbed the kitchen and the bathroom and everything together. So you have but a single crap tap on this RV. So like I've mentioned, a lot of builders make a floor plan like this. So take a look at the links in the video description. First of all, you can check for this one's pricing and availability. Wherever we happen to have one of these parked, you can see real pricing whenever you're ready. Secondly, you can take a look at some of the other people who make a layout like this. Cross-compare them right from the comfort of your couch or wherever you happen to be watching from. Maybe your office on Monday morning, I'm not sure. I can actually track the statistics on my channel. I know a bunch of you go to work Monday and watch YouTube, so don't tell your boss that. But let me know which one you'd go with and why. And again, if you appreciate how we try to be candid and transparent and tell you good with bad, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.